Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Business as Usual. This is Jonathan Kirsten with the Pittsburgh Tech Council and the usual co-host of Business as Usual. I am filling in for the one and only Audrey Russo today. She's at our board meeting, so I get the honor and privilege of hanging out with Denise DeSimone today. Very excited to have this conversation. But before I formally introduce my good friend Denise, I've got to take care of a little bit of business. First and foremost, we have to thank our sponsors, Huntington Bank. They have had our backs from the very, very beginning of this whole thing. We could not do business as usual and bring these conversations without their support. So glad to have them on our team, that's for sure. And of course, 40 by 80, the nonprofit arm of the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Gotta love those guys as well too. They're helping us do some really transformative work, really trying to connect people to tech, trying to connect entrepreneurs to funding, you name it. 40 by 80 is trying to do it, and they make the show possible. In case you don't know, mics have been muted so we can keep the background noise to a minimum. If my dogs start barking, well, they're going to bark, and there's nothing we can do about it because I got to keep my mic on the entire time. But hopefully, they'll be super quiet today. And as Audrey always says, we like to ask people to use the chat to ask questions. Don't do any cheesy business selling on the chat. That's not fun. That's not cool. People won't do business with you anyhow if you try doing that. And hopefully we won't be Zoom bombed. Actually, it's pretty funny. Audrey and I were actually Zoom bombed on our Do the Robot show for Tech Life Live this past week. It was a pretty horrifying experience, but our security is locked down tight here. There's no messing around, that's for sure. So we got to start the show today. As you may have noticed, we started with a little Stones today. Had to play a few licks of the Stones because it is, of course, Denise DeSimone and I's, it's our favorite band in the world. A little Mick Jagger, a little Keith Richards to set the mood. Especially on a day like today, it's kind of cold and dreary. A little gimme shelter kind of gets me fired up, Denise. So, Denise, I'm so happy to see you. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. And I just realized I think I've known you for almost 20 years now, which is really kind of scary.
I know. When I first came back to Pittsburgh, the first kind of business I walked into was the Tech Council.
I remember, man. I remember. Yeah. And just, you were like, just coming in here from like, I think was it Nashville you were living at?
Memphis,
that's what it is. And you just sold a tech company down there. You came to Pittsburgh, and I was like, man, Denise is all business. In a cool way. So you've got a great background. Like I said, as we use the email to promote this, you are a serial entrepreneur at its finest, whether it's tech or whatever, which was like when you told me a few years ago that you were doing the Steel City Con, you got the franchise of that. I was like, of course you would do something like that. Why would you not? So tell our viewers today who may not know who the real Denise DeSimone is, what you're all about, and also a big pitch for CLevel as well too, because you guys do tremendous work at CLevel. Partner with the Tech Council on a lot of our events and marketing and so forth. So tell us about you and CLevel.
Yeah, so we've been around. So like you said, I came from Pittsburgh, left Pittsburgh, came back. CLevel's founded about 12 years ago now, and we do great work. And I think the best part about CLevel is that, we really get engaged with the clients. So, we execute some awesome brands. We've done some work for PNC. We've done some work for a lot of big companies and small companies. So, we always kind of like working with those startups as well, because, as you said, my career has basically been starting companies and exiting companies. And so it's been fun.
I always say CLevel's kind of been like the sixth stone of the Pittsburgh Technology Council in its own sort of way. It's kind of like you're kind of like a Nikki Price or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy, except,
Simple as that. So, and I just really need to tell people, like, when it comes to business, I respect you so much on what you do and have done, because you see the business value in something and you know how to do that, but you also know how to give back to the community and help people as well too. You've just done some really tremendous work, Denise. And that's why we were really excited to talk to you today about this. I call it one of your side ventures, the Steel City Con, which when you told me about that, I thought was just so exciting. And I really don't know anything about this culture. Like I'm just never really been into it, but I think it's fascinating. So I'm excited to learn more about it today. And more importantly, I think also our viewers today are really pumped to know about, wow, this is a huge in-person event at the Monroeville Convention Center happening June 11th through the 13th. And I mean, we're excited to get people doing stuff in person again. Like I got my second COVID shot today, and I'm like thinking to myself, oh man, in a few weeks, you don't have to be as afraid going out there and doing stuff like Steel City Con. So give us
Yeah.
the key deets on Steel City real fast.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really ever been to one either. I mean,
That was like, you didn't, and you're like, oh, I'll do a franchise.
I mean, the reality is that I'd never been to one, and but it was a good fit for CLevel too. CLevel does such a great job of branding and lead gen, and it was a good fit because Steel City, it's been around for 30 years here in Pittsburgh, which was huge. And it's fun. It brings a different side of business. So it was,
I would say a much different side of business.
a very different side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's fun. It mixes pop culture with, we try to get everybody taken care of, the sci-fi, the Star Trek, the Star Wars, some scary, some TV, and every once in a while a musician, wrestlers. So the formula is pretty simple, and the fans of Steel City Con are really, really tremendous. I mean, they are diehard, and
Yes, they are. Yes.
it's a lot of fun.
I always know Steel City Cons in town because if I drive by Monroeville, I'll see like the Millennium Falcon like parked in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, someone's having some fun with their cosplay today, that's for sure.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the first time that I walked into one, into my own, I was like, wow, this was, but I'll tell you, it's really a nice, no judgment zone. People get along, there's never been a fight or an argument, or, I mean, it's really a cool environment.
It's got to have a totally positive vibe because people are just doing what they love. It's their passion. It's what they enjoy. And they're there to just have a great time and really just geek out on the things that pump them up, which I think obviously makes it such a cool event. So on the 11th to the 13th, maybe kind of run us through real fast. Like, I mean, some of the talent that's coming is pretty amazing. I mean, you're talking like William Shatner. I think he's got to be the absolute godfather of all these things, right? Like if William Shatner shows up to something like this, it doesn't get much better than that, than like if Darth Vader showed up or something like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's a big one, and it's funny that, he reached out to us and he said that Pittsburgh was, really such a tremendous experience. He wanted to come back.
No way. Oh, that's cool. So he reached out to you saying the Steel City, I gotta be there.
Yeah, I mean, he's I think this is his first Comic-Con back, and he's ready to go.
Okay. He's ready to go. And there's a ton of other guests. I was looking at the site. I mean, you've like John Lovitz coming for crying out loud. Like, I think I would go just to like get my picture with him.
Yeah, I mean, there's some Walking Dead folks coming. There's some of the original ET cast. Some MASH people. So I mean, there's
Alan Alda's coming, if I'm not mistaken.
What's that?
Alan Alda's coming, right?
But Hot Lips is coming.
I didn't even know he was still alive, so that's gotta be kind of interesting as far as that is. That's just super cool. So the idea is, I mean, how many people are going to be coming? Because obviously this is in COVID. I'm assuming the crowds won't be as dense as they would normally be. What's the plan here to make sure that people have a super fun but super safe Steel City Con this year?
Yeah, I mean, of course, masks are going to be mandatory and temperature checks and all that stuff.
Okay.
But,
Right.
we're really going to follow the guidelines. You know, for whatever reason, I think we're the last state at 25% capacity of indoor.
Right.
When you look at the states around us, they're all at 50 or 75%. So, the hope is, and I think the expectation is that some of that stuff will be lifted a little bit. But, we're going to follow the guidelines,
Of course.
but it's time, it's time. People want to get back to it. They want to get back to, as normal can get at Steel City Con.
Exactly. Now, here's something interesting about Steel City Con this year is I'm curious to see people's face masks this year, right? So I'm assuming people are going to get super creative with their face masks just to show what they're all about.
No, I think, it's already starting. They have a Jason face mask that they're starting to come up with. I mean, it's interesting, and my kids love it, which is nice. So, it's a business that, you can bring the family, cover their eyes every once in a while, but
You didn't see that. You didn't see it. We all saw it, but we didn't see it.
Exactly. Don't tell anybody you saw that.
Very cool. Very cool. So how many of these do you typically have a year?
We have 3 a year. So
Okay.
Typically it's August. It's April, August, and December, but this year we pushed the April to June. So it'll be June, August, and December.
Okay, so you're planning on then getting back to a full schedule of the Steel City Cons for 2021.
We're getting back.
Very cool, very cool. And I guess they're always at the Monroeville Convention Center as well, too, right?
Yep. It makes sense for us. It's free parking. We have looked at some other places, but Monroeville seems to be the home.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be the same not being there for some reason.
No.
Like I said, you need ample space to park the Millennium Falcon.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
wide spots there. You can kind of back it in and then drop the chocks on it.
Right, the Ghostbuster vehicle. You can't just put that anywhere.
Exactly. So you're getting me fired up. I think I want to actually go and just check this whole thing out and have some fun. It just sounds totally amazing. So how about, we're talking about like folks like William Shatner coming and Alan Alda and John Lovitz. I mean, what are their concerns for getting back to this? I mean, you mentioned before that this is Shatner's first one. So I'm assuming they're itching to get back because obviously they make a lot of money doing this. They want to engage with their fans, probably even more than that, I think, as well, too. So how are they feeling? How are you ensuring their safety? I'm assuming there's a lot of back and forth on that.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I mean, a lot of these celebrities really aren't worried about it. They expect, there's a level of expectation, are we checking temperatures? Are we, adhering to face masks? We're obviously not gonna, just let people surround them. But, people like William Shatner, they have, he has somebody that's with him like a bodyguard, and, so, it typically everybody's safe. I don't think it's going to be the same, people are hugging and all that. So
there'll be no lip lock going on in the Steel City Con this year, right?
No, and that's not a bad thing for certain people.
That might be a good thing. Absolutely. So I'm just assuming, obviously, as you move forward with this, you're going to be course correcting as you go based on what the requirements are. Tell me a bit about last year. Did you have to cancel everything last year? Did you do some virtual stuff last year? Is there a hybrid version of this that could happen at some point in time to get those of us who maybe are too afraid to go out in public and say we still want to be part of Steel City Con, but we just don't want to leave our lairs quite yet?
No, I mean, we canceled it all, and I think the appeal of Steel City Con is the in-person. These people have been going years and years, and it's like a family environment to them. They meet the friends they only see 3 times a year. It just wasn't something that we thought, we don't want to lose what Steel City Con represents. So we just canceled everything.
Absolutely. We just kept it like, this is what it's going to be this year, and take that hit like so many companies did. It's just like,
Yeah.
It's really scary. I mean, that's just one of those things where it goes to show you how this pandemic has just impacted everything and anything, including our enjoyment of all things pop culture at a convention center, as far as that is.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. So I'm pumped up for this thing. If people want to learn more, what's the site for that? So it's steelcitycon.com. I think we should put that up in the chat.
Yeah, it's steelcitycon.com, and we're going to be launching a new site, of course.
Of course. I wonder who's going to make that site for you guys. There might be a firm I could recommend for you that might be.
No, I've got an RFP out.
Yeah, I do that. Absolutely. So a new website's coming out. And the idea is to encourage people that you're practicing all the safety that you can possibly practice, that you're trying to make this a safe and a fun event as far as that goes. So
yeah, I mean, I bring my kids there, I would never put anybody in any kind of jeopardy. So we're going to adhere to the guidelines. And, I think everybody's just ready. I mean, we get messaged every day, please don't cancel it, please have it.
Excellent. And how have ticket sales been so far? I mean, before you were kind of mentioning that sales are pretty strong. So obviously people are ready to go. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's not, the way it was pre-pandemic, but it's fairly consistent and steady. The vendors are ready to get back to it. I mean, I think everybody's ready.
Definitely. I'm assuming after the first one happens, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed, I know it's going to be totally fine, that at that point, then there's going to be an even more of a comfort level at that point, where maybe the second one's it'll keep building because people will be getting used to getting back to this, new normal that we're going to have, and realizing that we can do these things and do them all safely. So I'm excited for it. I'm hoping other events like Comic-Con come back and we're all just kind of doing our thing like we once were, and being human beings out there interacting with each other and enjoying the things that we love so much. That's for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So Denise, can we do a little storytelling? Like, you have some of the best stories about some of the folks that have come to the Steel City Cons over the previous years.
Oh, we've had
any particular stories that really stand out for you that we could maybe talk a little bit about? I mean, we can always change the names to protect the guilty and the innocent if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just say there's a well-known actress that I swear we delivered probably 30 gallons of Mountain Dew to over the course of a weekend. I mean, I don't know how she would
30 gallons of Mountain Dew.
I swear we were going to the store for Mountain Dew on a regular basis.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And then you have the usual, there was a celebrity that had to have like jars of pickles.
Jars of pickles. Wow.
Yeah, it gets crazy. And then, we've gone to hotel rooms, waking up celebrities. I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely a different clientele than what I'm used to.
I believe it. It's got to keep things fun and interesting for you. That is absolutely for sure. That's just so interesting.
Now, on the flip side, there's some really cool celebrities that are really, just down to earth, very, very nice.
I think it was almost 2 years ago, George Takei came, and I was going to be able to interview him. You set up an interview for me, but I couldn't do it because I had a death in the family. But we had one of our people come down and interview him, and he seemed like the coolest, nicest, most down to earth guy ever. Like George Takei is like quality people.
I mean, he was just nice, and like I said, I have my kids running around, and they're, he was just very welcoming. The other group that was really, really nice were the people from the office.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you had them stop by. That had to be like a total crowd pleaser right there.
Yeah, I mean, they they were just really decent people. And, they just, some celebrities are just very welcoming and they appreciate the fans. And, but in all fairness, I don't think we've had a celebrity that was kind of like, don't talk to me. But The Office, they were like, ordering chili at the concession stand and hot pretzels and,
they're reveling in it and having a good time and spreading that vibe out to all their fans and everything
Yeah.
throughout the CityCon. That's awesome. What a good time all the way around. Who would you say has been your favorite celebrity to go through Steel City Con over the years that you've been running it, Denise?
I would say the guy that plays Kevin in The Office.
Okay.
He was a lot of fun.
Did he play drums for you guys when he was there?
That
That
No.
would be cool because that's a couple episodes with him where he was playing the drums and he looks pretty
Yeah.
cool up there.
No, but he did some videos where he was, he did some impromptu videos where he was acting like he was part of the setup team, which was hysterical.
Very cool.
But we've had some good ones, and some older, like Christy McNichol was really a nice person.
Okay.
And, believe it or not, Carmen Electra was
Carmen Electra. I
really,
forgot about Carmen Electra. Oh my goodness, man.
yeah,
This is
she
like
really
1995
was,
right there.
yeah, she was really a nice person.
Very cool. So you've made some great connections over the years doing this. Any celebrities that you would love to get into Comic-Con and into Steel City Con in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody wants to see Rainn Wilson. Like he's a big one that everybody'd like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund with Freddy Krueger,
Ooh.
everybody wants to see him.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a few of them that are kind of,
there's that William Shatner level, right? That
yeah,
you can
exactly.
you got to work the channels and everything like that to make that happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Denise, I'm just really pumped for you guys. As you can tell, I want everyone to go to steelcitycon.com and check it out. You will find someone up there that you probably want to hang out with and meet and get your picture taken with, because there's so many people coming over the course. It's like this Pittsburgh tradition as far as that goes. And I'm glad to see it coming back. And so we have a few minutes left, Denise. So maybe we can switch gears a little bit. I always love picking your brain about what's happening across Pittsburgh's tech sector and really how things have changed during COVID and everything like that. What do you see going on out there? Anything that's interesting you tech-wise here in the Pittsburgh region that's making you kind of pay attention?
Well, I tell you, I think what Astro Robotics is doing is incredible.
Definitely.
I really enjoy working with those guys, and I think
you guys did their website, right? If I'm not mistaken, you guys just launched their new website, no pun intended.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it launched yet, but I think it might have. I don't know. I went on vacation and I came back and we had a new website.
You had a new website.
I was like,
that happened. No, I get you, man. All the way. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think what those guys are doing, I think is just really incredible. I like, technology is kind of like my background, my true background. So, I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening in Pittsburgh.
Especially on the whole astrobotics side, it just blows my mind when you think about like Pittsburgh will be an actual space center. They will be controlling, robots from Pittsburgh on the moon as they search for water and do things like that. So I agree with you. Astrobotics is one of those companies that I think really stands up in Pittsburgh as far as that goes. And as far as like, what are your thoughts on how on us being more entrepreneurs out there doing what you've done with your life? It's always a challenge, and really to get more women and people of color started in this, because I feel like those numbers aren't there in Pittsburgh, especially. And you should be really an inspiration to a lot of these folks because you've been there and done that. How can we get more people to take that risk and get out there and take on the next Steel City Con as a side project while they're running two other businesses like you've been doing?
Well, I think I think there's a lot of fear over the last, couple years, especially with, COVID. But I feel like people just need to jump into it. There's so many more resources and so many great organizations out there now that people can take advantage of that weren't there years ago. So, I think, I hope that more women and more minorities and will start trying to, put their foot in the water, because I think, with the technology, with the, online e-commerce, with everything's more reasonable now. I mean, there's really no reason not to.
Absolutely. And Denise, like if someone ever wanted to like reach out to you just because they know you've been there, done that, you're really prevalent in the community. No one should fear reaching out to you saying, hey, I need to pick your brain. I have an idea, just to bounce it off with someone like a Denise DeSimone. Obviously, you're open to that.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to people all the time, and I don't ever have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's important, for those of us that have done it to really, give back to the entrepreneur community. I mean, it's not something we should do. It's something we have to do.
Love it. Absolutely. I tell you what, my memory still goes back to about 12 years ago. You sent me a text saying, you got to meet me at the Starbucks on Copeland. I got something I got to tell you. And I was like, well, what do you got to tell me? Like, just meet me at 8 o'clock, whatever it was. And I met you there. And that's when you told me your whole concept for CLevel. And to see how you've grown that over the past 12 years, I think it's just been phenomenal. I know you've impacted so many companies positively here over the years with your marketing help, and also helping spin companies up because you've been in those trenches with them doing that. And then what you're doing with Steel City Con is just so cool. And I just love having our conversations like we've had today. It's just so much fun. It's been such an honor talking with you today, Denise.
No, I miss you guys. I'm one of those people that I'm ready to get back. I'm ready to be in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everyone out there, go to Steel City Con. If you're thinking about starting a company, you're afraid to, call up Denise. She'll give you a dose of courage. Simple as that. So she'll give you some insight, or she'll be honest and say, don't do that at all. It's a terrible everyday job. I don't know. Listen, to remind everybody that tomorrow we have the CTO of the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission stopping by. I didn't realize how huge the Turnpike Commission is. It's got like a $260 million budget and like 1,800 employees. And technology is going to be leading the way towards making the Turnpike and the other highways that it manages roads of the future. So lots of opportunities for people out there to connect with the CTO there. So we're excited to have that conversation, and Audrey will be back leading that up. And we always got to thank our sponsors, Huntington Bank, for making this happen, and 40 by 80. We could not do it without them. And Denise, I want to give you a big hug right now through Zoom like that. And hopefully we'll see each other in person. Because like I said, I got my second COVID shot. So in a couple of weeks.
Me too.
I'm going to Steel City Con, man. Get my picture. Appreciate everybody participating in our business as usual today. Everybody have an awesome afternoon. Despite the frigid temperatures out there, I swear it's going to get much better.
Thanks, Jonathan.
See you guys.